Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is going to be my second take on the same movie. This is Midnight Matinee, named after both a website I've started with a friend. Feel free to check that out if you enjoy reading more than listening, because that's going to be a lot of the same stuff. And also, over if anybody remembers those good old days when we would have our cheaper showings at midnight at the theater. And a lot of times they were the more fun, adventure, exciting sci-fi, horror, action movies. The midnight matinees were meant to be a fun outing. And that's what I want this page to be, this whole page of mine. I just finished a much longer version of this, which contains heavy spoilers for the movie. Try to get that out of my system so I could try to do a less than 10-minute review of Barb Wire, based off the Dark Horse comic. And there's a lot of reviews. Actually, there's not that many reviews of this movie, but the reviews there are generally try to paint the film as a complete failure, and either they trash the movie completely or they pretend they're doing it a favor by trying to find some nugget of gold in all the dirt. And it's just, I strongly disagree with that. I mean, not with trying to find the gold in something that's noble. It's good to try to be positive and try to find the good in anything. But this movie, I don't think gets the credit that it deserves. We'll start with just the cast. Pamela Anderson, underrated. Not the greatest actress, I will give you that, but she's decent actress. She's got good comedic timing, and in this, she actually shows herself to be a capable actress in even the action scenes, which some scenes, some cut scenes, I have no doubt is a stuntman. But she actually did motorcycle driving training, kickboxing, weapons training, so that she could do a lot of the stunts herself. And there are some of the stunts where you can see her face clear as day in the middle of them. And you know that she did do some of her own stunts. She did do some of her own fighting, jumping, hanging from dangerous heights, whatever the scene called for. That was Pamela Anderson. And it's nice. And I give her props for that. One of the things that I say in my review, both of them, I'm saying this one too, is this movie gets kind of pushed aside because there is a little bit of gratuitous nudity. It's not extensive by any means, but it's there. A couple seconds here, a couple seconds there. One of the most obvious is the opening sequence. After the opening narration to establish the film, there's a whole credit sequence. If that's going to lower your opinion of the movie, then jump to the 3-minute mark. Jump to the 3-minute mark and start watching from there, because it's the end of that sequence. It establishes her character, and the movie moves on, I think, without a hitch from there on out. If you're mature enough to not get all giggly because you see a woman topless, or if you're mature enough to not get offended because you've seen a woman partially topless, then just let the movie play and enjoy it for what it is. But otherwise, I checked it today when I watched it before I did the review, paused it at the end of that scene, 3 minutes in, almost to the second. So skip to the 3-minute mark and let it play. It's a great movie. The greatness of it comes from being pure, unmitigated entertainment. It's action-packed. It's got purposeful humor. I hear that a lot about the movie, that the humor is often humorous, even on accident. And I suppose that might be true, but there's a lot of the humor that's intentional. It's not goofy. It's well done. It's well timed, and it's funny. Some of the acting is a little ham-fisted. Not Pamela's most of the time. There's a couple line deliveries that land a little heavy, but mainly the Colonel. He's a little bit on the cheesy side, and then kind of a side character, not quite a villain, but definitely not a hero, definitely a protagonist. No, excuse me, definitely an antagonist, regardless. And he hams it up big time. But aside from that, Charlie, Curly, played by the great Udo Kier. Willis, played by Xander Berkeley, does a great job. And then you have Axel William, played by Tamira Morrison, which I think we can all agree is a great actor. He's very enjoyable in the things we've seen him in. And you even have smaller parts played by the likes of Clint Howard, who's always fun to see. He's such a character actor. Well, speaking of the comic, Pamela Anderson is ideal for the character. I mean, she looks exactly like the character from the comic. It's great choice acting on her part. The plot of the movie is one that's been done, before, but then what's one hasn't. It's very hard to do this without spoilers, because I want to tell you why it's a great movie and why you should watch it. But that's my other one that's over an hour long. And I don't want to spoil segments or plot moments. It was filmed in 1996. It takes place in what was then the future of 2017. And Barb Wire is a bounty hunter / bar owner, club owner, really. And she mostly uses the bounty hunting as a reason or a way to pay for her club. She lives in the last free city in the Americas after a second civil war broke out and tore the country apart. If that sounds familiar, you might find yourself enjoying this movie even more than you would have back in 96. The bounty hunting, though, it gives depth to her character. It lets us see that she's a no-nonsense, action-packed individual. We also later on get some history as to why she is able to handle herself. And that's pretty good. But we find out from the bounty hunting that she's not exactly doing it for noble reasons. She does it for the money. It establishes a character that she is an anti-hero in this. The good that she does often is served for her own personal gain. But there are also bounties, not necessarily bounties, but paid jobs that kind of separate her from being a mercenary. There's things she won't do as well. And so it establishes that we have a very solid gray character here. And we don't know necessarily which way she's going to go on any particular moment in the movie. We find out there's not many people she cares about or trusts in this future. One of them is her brother. Really great performance, really great interactions between the two of them. Some of the best scenes are the interactions between those two. I was really impressed with them. And the other person is her assistant. He calls himself just a waiter, but he's clearly the backbone to her club, played by the great Udo Kier. And you get the only moments of softness that you really get from Barb Wire are in scenes with these two. Everywhere else, she's got her guard up and she's ready to fight and she's ready to push everybody away. And really, this movie deserves a lot better credit than it's been ever given. There's a few small scenes throughout the movie by actors that you've seen 100 times just pop up here or there. You may not know their names, but when you see them, you're like, there's Tommy Lister Jr. It was great to see him. He's only in it for like a minute or less, but it was fantastic to see him. And there's other actors like that as well. It makes rewatching these so much fun. The storyline is basic, and not in a negative way, but the characters are deep. Tiny moments are given throughout that really flesh out characters and give emphasis to scenes, and things that happen at the beginning pay off later. And there are quieter moments I go into much deeper in my other video that give a lot more to the character. It's not either she's shooting or fighting or whatever, but there's some quiet moments that give real depth to her character, make it a very well-rounded character. And as people have mentioned, one of the things I like about it is that she is a very feminine character, but she is not a weak character at all. And you get both, which is what you're supposed to have in these movies. And this movie delivers it. A feminine, strong character. She's intelligent. She's talented. She's not to be trifled with. She's ruthless, and it's a great character. Movies in the 90s could be a little bit cheesy from time to time, if not in their entirety. A certain way, when you watch, you go, that's a 90s film. And this movie does have that. I can't deny that. But they also had real graphics. They didn't blue screen and green screen everything. They really used stuntmen. They used explosions. They used stunt drivers. And yes, I know they still do that to some degree now, but you can just feel a difference. You can just sense a difference when you're watching it. It draws you in because your eyes know what's happening, and you're going, wow, look at these people doing this scene. This is incredible. And again, Pamela Anderson did some of it herself, and that adds to it, both to her as an actress or as a person, as well as to the movie itself. It has its emotion. The side characters are all very well fleshed out, both of the villains and protagonists, I guess, really. Whether they're the heroes or not, they're still protagonists. And that's the best I can do for a short review. I really enjoy talking about films, and so I start getting way too into them and discussing details that wind up being spoilers. So this is my short review of Barb Wire. If you don't mind spoilers, or you've already seen the movie, by all means, if you have the time to listen, don't necessarily have to watch, try my other one. And hopefully it will ignite you to go watch this film, and hopefully you'll enjoy it, and you'll be able to trust my opinion and enjoy further reviews that I do. But if you're looking for a solid superhero film, this is it. If you're looking for a solid female action film, this is it. If you're looking for something that is 100% and flawless, this is not it. It really isn't. But if you're trying to avoid dredge that makes your head hurt and you go, how did this get put on film? This is also not that film. It is a decent to very good film, kind of depending on your personality. Even critic reviews were mixed on it, and user reviews seem to be mostly positive. It seems like most people who don't enjoy the movie can't get past the kind of cheesiness of the world that it provides anyways, or they seem to have something against Pamela Anderson in general. That's not to say everybody. Some people watch it and they're just like, no, not for me. But if you like female action heroes, if you like superhero films, if you like explosions, gunfights, car chases, one-liners, this is a very fun film. Please, if you haven't, you got the time, I guarantee you can do a lot worse than this film. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Thank you for watching or listening. And with all of my reviews, my list and opinion is ironclad and inarguable, so I expect nothing but collective head nods of sycophantic agreement in the comments. Thanks for watching.